Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Andrew Canlon Show, a YouTube podcast here on the channel. I hope you're doing well. This is AC. I'm coming at you live from Nashville, Tennessee. And as you can see, we are poolside today, having an extension of the weekend. Just had some friends here in town from New York City. And if you've been paying attention to the channel at all, there was a little bit of break in posting, and that is because sometimes when your friends come to town, you need to just enjoy the moment and spend time with people, friends and family that you really care about, and that was a really nice little recess. So shout out to all the homies for coming to town. Having a great time here in Nashville. And today, has been a really cool moment to get back into some music projects and really dig right back in, pick up right back where I left off, and do another podcast, let you guys in on a couple of updates musically. But first and foremost, before I get started, before I get too far down the line, there's a whole list of people and creative partners that I would love to thank. As you all know, if you've been following along, back on April 24th, I was back in New York City doing a showcase at Trends for their Meet the Brands event down in Long Island City in Queens. This is the second time we've done it with them, and each time we do it, it gets a little bit better. And that whole trip was an incredible experience for me, both personally and professionally, as a musician and as someone who is trying to organize these events and not only promote my own solo project musically, but also give a platform to other up and coming artists who are eager to get out there and share their process with people, and to partner with venues and brands that share that vision as well. It's been awesome, man. It's been a really great experience. So shout out to Trends, Malcolm, the event coordinator, Rodney and Brandon, the co-owners of the dispensary. It's been an incredible experience working with you guys, and we're looking forward to a bigger and better performance in the spring, in terms of how big we go with it, and the possibilities are endless. So shout out to them. I wanted to give another shout out to Creative Pulse, Angie over at Creative Pulse here in Nashville, for putting on amazing shows here in town, and once again for giving our good friend Damon, aka a Human, that's his stage name, an opportunity to make his debut down here as well. And we are double ending it. We have a great stable of talented people here in Nashville and in New York, and we're going to be throwing as many of these events as we can, and spreading the word about this community of artists that, again, are just genuine in their efforts to get out there, perform, and put on great experiences for music lovers, who really want something authentic. And if you pay attention to what's going on out there in the world with automation and AI, there seems to be this real appetite for authenticity in performances, but as well as the artist's story, the journey behind the music making process, how it all ties together with other recreational activities that we all enjoy. That's been a really cool, fun thing for me to dig into and to talk about and to pursue professionally. And so huge shout out to Angie for doing that here in the Nashville market, and doing our little indie showcases here. I look forward to working on those here in town as well. So if you haven't, make sure you add Creative Pulse on Instagram and follow along. They're doing great work. Make sure you follow trends.lic in New York as well. And they're also doing a great job. So shout out to those guys. I did also want to give a little bit of love to Element, which is my music publisher. Jess Rosenbluth over there has built a great system for artists to get their music online to all of the assorted streaming platforms and DSPs. Her and I work together at MKTG. It is a startup music publisher, so anytime I can support a startup, being a startup myself, it's just a great opportunity for people who came up in the game in New York City together, who are now running their own businesses, to come together over a decade later and collaborate musically is really, really cool. Jess has worked on big accounts with Nike and Google and all those types of companies. So she's done a great job with her contacts over at Warner's and helped me get some of my latest releases up online and shared to the Spotify's of the world without having to go through the big conglomerates like DistroKid and um, CD Baby and all of the rest of them. So shout out to Element. Make sure you add them. All of these folks will be tagged in these posts as well. So if you're interested in music publishing or PR, which is my next shout out, Purple Bite, Michael over at Purple Bite in LA for helping me get my songs onto playlists. I really want to say, working with him has been a great experience. And he's someone who is very real and very passionate again about supporting artists who have really been tossed around by the industry and are looking for an equitable way to spread the word about what they're doing. So shout out Michael. If you haven't checked out Purple Bite, make sure you give them an ad as well on Instagram. Check out their services, PR services, playlisting, etc. I can't recommend them enough. They've been great for me. So there you go. And moving right along, some of you may have noticed, again, if you're following along on Instagram or YouTube, you'll have noticed that my latest release was actually a collaboration with Tom Kari. So for those of you wondering how that all came to fruition, 5 a.m. is a single that I wrote with Tom many years ago, probably over 10 years ago. I think back in 2014 or 2015, somewhere in that neighborhood. Tom was my old high school classmate. We sang in barbershop quartets together. We were in the choir together. We were in musicals, all the rest of it, and really grew up in the music education scene and really were two of the more passionate people, I would say, even back in those days, who really took our music making pretty seriously. Tom understood the business very well at an early age, and I was sort of the rebel without a cause, and I just wanted to be left alone, and I wanted to write my own songs, and he understood marketability and how to make things commercially successful. He graduated from Florida State. He went on to have a great recording career in LA and has worked with incredible artists from Rick Rubin to Kesha to Wiz Khalifa. And, we planted the seed for this collaboration a really long time ago. And, the fact that he was able to finally get it out there, finally get his solo project going, and to include me as a co-writer, it's really, really awesome to be a part of a collaboration and a record that has all of this music industry history behind it. It's a list of heavy hitters and true professionals who are on this record. So if you have an opportunity to check it out, it's called 5 a.m. It's the first single on Tom's new EP that he just debuted. So yeah, I highly recommend checking it out. The whole thing was done in one take, apparently, which is something I am not likely to try anytime soon. But take one out now on all streaming platforms. It's the debut EP for Tom Kari. 5 a.m. is the single where I am featured as a co-writer. And he and I wrote that song together one night I believe it was in Florida when I was home for the holidays. He just had a setup that's very similar to what I have here now, a little MIDI keyboard, a little laptop. We had a couple beers and sat there and wrote the song. And, I still have the lyric sheet from that night, and it's pretty cool, man. It's a great memory for me, to remember how innocently that we kind of improvised that whole track. And we're just kind of being very playful and experimental about the whole thing. And, we didn't really know what we wanted to write about. We knew we wanted to kind of paint a picture for people and, really make something that was immersive, and I think listening to the recording, he really stuck to that, which is awesome. The song is, for the most part, pretty unchanged. I think there's a couple of tweaks to the lyrics, but also um, a tag at the end. But the bulk of it is really what we wrote together. So it's really cool to hear. It's cool to hear Tom's interpretation of that. I think if you leave it in my hands, it could end up being something much more fleshed out. Probably something with a higher BPM. So to go the acoustic route, to kind of strip it down and really make it intimate for the listener, was a cool choice for his voice and for his team over at Sony who helped him put together this record. So shout out to everyone involved in the EP. It's been great. There have been some nice introductions back and forth. There have been some nice things said, both from the community who helped make that record, but also outside followers and old friends, musicians and industry people alike have been very complimentary. So thank you all. It's been a pleasure meeting everyone. I look forward to what's next with that whole group of people. With Tom, I told him, I said, hey, let's not wait 10 years to do the next one, because this was a great experience, and I'm just glad we were able to get one. But there's a lot more where that came from. So, if you're like Tom and you have material that you'd like to put out, and you would like some writing input, and you'd like a different perspective, a different point of view, that is very much in my wheelhouse. And I'm super excited to have those opportunities anytime they come along to do a co-write. So if that's something you're in the business of doing, let me know. And you never know, we could end up with something really cool. So once again, shout out to Tom Kari, shout out to all of his collaborators out in LA. Thank you for being a part of this, and it's been absolutely awesome to meet you guys. What else? As that's all been going on, still kind of plugging away at a couple of new projects musically on my own. As you all saw, if you follow along on Instagram, I teased a track called Stargazer a couple weeks ago, and I'm going to take a sip of my coffee. And that's a song that I am very excited about. It's taking shape pretty nicely. Dmitry Libman will be back. The producer who worked on Gemini Man and To Live a Dream, and we've done a bunch of songs together over the years. He'll be back producing Stargazer, which will be my next single. That will be out this summer. And then, of course, we have the studio series, which, I kind of have been teasing on this show, on the podcast, dropping little hints here and there about my grand plan and my vision for this particular shoot. And it will be, as you may have guessed by now, a Justin Timberlake song, which I cannot wait to share. It's been a challenge already. I'm into the production. I've done some of the instrumentals, some of the tracking. There's a lot of work to do to get the mix right. This studio series is going to end up being a little bit more curated. It's not quite in the live category. There is going to be some production going on, and I'm not opposed to doing a full cover of this particular track and even releasing it as a cover as well. I think it's going in a direction where this could be a single by itself, which I'm super excited about. So, with the studio series, the idea is always to do something kind of loose and fast. This is getting to be a little bit more involved, and look, that's okay, right? It's always my goal to mix it up, which is why we're doing a pool cast instead of a podcast today. And I'm sitting here, just kind of letting it fly and improvising and trying to do something fun and engaging. I don't mind being playful. I don't mind being different every single time. What worked on the Amalfi Coast isn't guaranteed to work in New York. What worked in New York isn't guaranteed to work here. So you have to adapt your process. And my process is always changing. And much like Fred, again, if you're familiar with his process, it requires different technologies, different setups, different microphones, different keyboards to pull these things off. They're not easy to do, but I am excited about what's coming next. I think you guys are going to be really thrown for a loop with this one. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a hell of a workload to finish, but I really do think we have something potentially really special on our hands with the next studio series video, and I can't wait to share that. So, and as this was all happening, I did dig up an old track that I resurrected, and there could be more down the road. So once I get this ball rolling, it's gonna really be a lot of material that I get to share with you all. And as you know, it's a very important thing for me to finish these projects, get them off the blocks. So many artists get to a point where they finish something about maybe 75%, 80%, and then they can't get it, to get done. That last 20% is the hardest to really solidify. So, yeah, I'm really excited about it. It's been a challenge, and I just can't wait to show you guys. It's really gonna be fun. It's gonna be an experiment. And with that said, I'm gonna take a little smoke break. Cheers to you all. Thank you once again for being here. This life in Nashville has been really, really cool. I'm meeting so many great artists here, people who fit into all different types of genre categories. You've got such a cool, a robust community here of players. Guys that play guitar, they play Broadway. There are producers here, there are record companies here, there are bookers here. There's this whole economy kind of set up around music and live events and performances and artistic integrity and sort of the institution of Americana, music and Americana and folk songs and country western music. And some of the performers that you're going to see up on stage night in and night out are touring artists. They're absolute juggernauts. And it just puts you in a position to step your game up when it comes to performances and not take shortcuts. And what I want to make perfectly clear as I go forward musically, as an electronic artist, I think some of the established order, the old school, might look at what I'm doing and think that I'm taking shortcuts. And I want to assure you that is not what's happening here. They are two different genres. They are two different mediums. However, the making of electronic music is still incredibly difficult. It's still incredibly difficult to program a show live. A lot of the work goes into creating the actual show. How am I going to produce these sounds live in this environment, in a different environment every single time? And it's not as simple as pulling out your guitar and strumming it or setting your keyboard up and just playing it, right? It's a lot of different things. It's which pad do I hit, which knob do I turn, which switch do I pull at any given moment, and it has to work. And when it does work, there's nothing cooler and there's nothing more rewarding. When it doesn't work, it can go wrong very quickly, and it's quite noticeable. So there's a lot of skin in the game when it comes to that style of performance. And I would love to make this performance style more common in Nashville, where people, I think, are really used to the traditional methods. And of course, as you all know, I mean, coming from music school myself, there's no one who's more supportive of the old ways than I am. And I think that no matter what you do and no matter what your genre is, that you should always have that and maintain that at the core of whatever your project is or whatever it's becoming. But with that said, I'm one person trying to achieve the sound of a full band. And the only way to do that is to understand which tools you're using and how to use them. And that's a huge learning curve. And because of the amount of time I spent studying music production in the years leading up to this solo project, I'm able to pull it off and continue to expand the arsenal of equipment that I use live to diversify the number of tricks that I can pull off while I'm up there. Because I'm up there to entertain. And as a singer, a songwriter, and a producer, what I'm doing in this format is I'm bringing the studio to you on stage, and I'm creating some things live in real time, and I'm recreating some things in live time, and then also performing in an analog way, playing top lines on the keyboard, playing bass lines, doing those vocal performances live and in front of you. So it's definitely a juggling act. There's a lot of things that need to be considered. It's a huge deal for those who have ever traveled to Europe, in Amsterdam and Paris and London and Berlin. And, this style of performing that I'm doing, that you're seeing me do here in the US, is very, very common in the European markets. And I've covered that before. And I think it's very important for us here in Nashville to start showcasing that, for the imports like me, for the people that want to come here and give the audiences something fresh, maybe something that they've never seen before, something international, right? Something that I've witnessed, can be can lead to a full house. These electronic artists, EDM people, but also melodic house and techno and electro pop, like they all have their lane and they all have their audiences. There's a band that I'm a huge fan of. I got to meet those guys a couple years ago, but one band I'm a huge fan of, they're named Goldfish. They're out of the South African market, and they came to Long Island a few years ago, and I got to see those guys and meet them and just talk shop with them, and to hear directly from the artists, that when they make their music, they're making it for guys like me and girls like me, people that care about the process, keyboard nerds, synth nerds, drum players, bass players, people that really look at the complexities and the nuances, not only in your music performance, but in your productions as well. And they appreciate what you're doing. They see tremendous value in what you're doing. It's been really, really cool to try and find these people as part of my audience and part of my community, because they believe in what I'm doing, and it's been a huge boost, and it's been the wind in my sails lately, to finally feel like I'm being heard and appreciated for what I do. It hasn't always been the case. And I recognize when it is happening, because it's rare. It's rare that it does. It's rare that you can catch lightning in a bottle. I seem to have caught something, and I'm very grateful for that. It's not without a lot of adversity that you arrive in these moments that do give you a level of fulfillment that you've rarely had in a career that has just been beyond difficult, beyond trying. There's been a lot of head scratching on my part. How do I turn the ship around? Well, I think the ship is in mid-turn at this point, and things are going in a positive direction. And I'm super happy to be healthy and surrounded by people who show up, and I do the same for them. And that seems to be growing through genuine intentions to want to work with great people, make great music, create great moments, and nothing less. There's nothing average about what I'm shooting for. There's nothing average about the way that I want to live. There's nothing timid about it. I'm not a fearful person. I'm taking all the mistakes and I'm shaking them off and I'm moving on. And we're growing, and as an audience together, we're growing as a community together. I'm literally bringing two cities together as we speak. New York, Nashville, they're coming together, and we're building a network. I think about revenue streams. I think about, where the opportunities are. I think about genuine intentions behind advertising. I think about genuine intentions behind marketing efforts. How do we help artists tell stories with brands who have had a genuine experience with that brand, and not just, hiring the biggest name and sticking them on the biggest poster. It's an old, archaic way of doing business. And I want to do something smarter, because I think you guys out there, you crave something smarter. You crave something real, and we're being lulled to sleep by a bunch of hollow programming out there. It's time to wake up. It's time to connect with something genuine. And that's what me and all of my friends bring to the table. And thank you guys for being here. This is always a treat, to be able to speak directly to you, to be able to speak directly as me, and not be told what to say, not be limited, not be censored, not be told that I'm out of line. I don't think I am, and I think I rarely have been over the years. I just kind of, have not been in a position to really speak my mind in a way that is truly unfiltered. So I'm really, really happy to have this platform in particular. And thank you again, because it's because you all are responding to it that there seems to be an appetite for more, and that without saying too much, there are some opportunities with other musical partners that may be wanting to jump on and and do some collaborations. So this is all good. You know, you take what you can get. There are no guarantees, and you just kind of have to keep pedaling. So, you know, social media, one thing I have learned about social media, just doing this on a regular basis, is that it is a job and it is a grind. And if you put a task in front of me that is in any way related to music, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna get it done. And I've had a lot of great productive conversations, even today, about the fact that, you know, this phone call that we're having, you and I, is not going to fall by the wayside. This plan that we put in place, we are going to do it. It's happening. There's no question about it. There's no music project that I am currently in production on that isn't going to be completed at some point. I am going to finish all of them. And it just feels good to have the outlets to be able to share, you know, as these things come to fruition, you know, what's going on behind the scenes and what's really truly happening. What is the life of an independent artist? What is the life of an entrepreneur? What is it really like? You know, what are the sacrifices that you have to make in order to get there? You know, what is the real, where's the real stuff? You know, I love that. I remember watching, like so many of you guys probably grew up on this show, but Shark Tank and Mark Cuban, and talking about, you know, being relentless in their pursuits of achieving their goals, for whatever company they want to form, for whatever artwork they want to promote or help fund or something like that. For me as a creative, it's really like, okay, how do I get my art out there? How do I amplify it? How do I reach new people? How do I bring new artists into it? You know, new partners who will value my point of view and my perspective and will help me communicate that. You know, I do think that that's the intention behind advertising, is to help people connect, you know, with something, you know, whether it's manufactured or not, improves our lives, you know, and that's cool. That I love that intention. But I think it's been, of course, homogenized over the years, and again, kind of overly saturated and sort of just lazy, in all honesty. I think it's lazy to, you know, random celebrity, insert random logo, biggest, splashiest, brightest ad in the middle of Times Square, right? Like there's no thought behind that. And I've been stunned the more I learn about companies and big, you know, brands, how little consideration is given to the nuances and to the curation of like, what is the meaning of all this? Why are we here? There are brands that get it right, but I think there's a mass media out there that's really missing the point, which is to help human beings have, you know, an experience online that is as enriching as what you see in the real world and what you experience in the real world. You know, not something canned and you know, homogenized and recycled and bastardized to the point of idiocy. But we see that a lot in the world now. And so the genuine intention of not only me, but everyone I'm working with is to keep it real. And real means real, really real, sometimes messy, sometimes not flattering, but that's real. You know, the process isn't going to make you look like the most perfect, blameless person in the world. It's just going to make you relatable, because people are going to see you get stressed out. They're going to see you fumble. They're going to see you, you know, maybe be a little bit too controlling, you know, about your process and stuff like that. So you have to be ready for how you're going to be received or perceived in this realm, you know, these little screens that we exist on. And I think I'm okay with that. I finally made my peace with it. You know, I've never wanted to be famous. This is you know, putting my face, my voice, my likeness out there at this point in my life, is just sort of an afterthought. You know, it's something that you have to do in order to have a chance at amplifying your artwork. And that's why I'm here. I'm not here to put my face on a poster. I'm here to do good work. And my audience, which is all of you, I know that you feel the same way about what you do, and I know you feel the same way about what I'm doing, and all of my collaborators are doing the same thing. You know, the sun's coming out, and I think that's a good omen, and we're getting right around the half-hour mark, which is where I like to clip this thing. I am eternally grateful to all of you for watching these episodes, for watching these clips. Thank you so much. Please continue to like, subscribe, share, comment, the interactions, not just from friends and fans, but from industry people, please keep it coming. You guys have been engaging with me and sharing insights about the business that I've waited my entire lifetime to hear from you. So thank you. If you're an industry person and you're engaging in the comments, I want to say thank you so much for your honesty and for your time. And I look forward to engaging with you online and hopefully in person one day. And that you can come with me on this ride because it should be fun. Music should be fun and life is good and we're here, we're happy, we're healthy, we look good, we feel good, right? And we're going to keep making music. And I can't wait to get back out there on stage. As soon as I know when that day is coming, you all will know as well. So stay gold, stay safe, live your truth, live your dreams. And I will catch you guys on the next one. Thank you so much for being here. Take care.